skillful humans. Nice to be with you today. I am going to call us into this space of calibration. So in this monthly newsletter, we're going to be moving between two kind of polarizing energies so that you can feel the sensations inside of your body and ultimately, hopefully, leave this experience with far more space, like breathing room, centeredness, possibly even joy and bliss. The reason for this is because there's been so much in the field, and it has been intentional to overwhelm, in particular, the systems of highly sensitive humans. Now, of course, there's been so much in the field to just overall, in general, rattle the collective to the point of such depletion and fatigue that you take no action. Like it brings you into a place of shutdown, right? Have you been feeling this? Like, have you been feeling the absolute overwhelm, the collective upheaval, this crisis to this crisis, to this policy change, to this weather thing, there's so much being dropped on us at this particular time. And I'm also going to talk about some of the whys, as in like, why is it that this is happening at this time? Because typically when that happens, it means that there is some sort of larger collective opportunity that's being presented to us. And it's like, hey, let's distract them and take the energy and have it move here instead of them picking up on the current collective tide of opportunity and potential that can lead us into a new timeline. Right? So this experience today, I'm going to bring us into an actual walked through experience, is also so that we become the beacons of light. Because what you're holding in your body is a kind of clarity inside of the chaos that so much of the world is really needing right now. And in that, there become openings, spaciousness, pathways for you to actually receive what is here that's beneficial, and then to land it, ground it into your feet, below your feet, being an anchor of a higher potential, an emanation that you radiate out into the world that deeply deserves and also needs it. Okay. So in this process, we're going to be moving in and out of the energy. The reason for this is because I want you to have a point of reference to support you in becoming centered when you go back out into the world, leaving this immersive process that I'm facilitating today in this newsletter, that you can come back to find the calibration inside of the chaos. So in order to do that, I'm not going to bring us straight into calibration. I'm going to have us move through some of the chaos. I'm going to have us feel some of the debris in the field, because then you're going to find pathways of fluidity between the chaos, between the heaviness, the overwhelm, the fatigue, especially given having a highly sensitive system, to then be like, okay, I remember how to move my energy from this chaos and overwhelm into this space. Okay? So bear with me, make sure that you stick around, like be with the full process. Don't start this video and then, because we're in a world of like fast pace and just like a ADHD, like our energy kind of goes here to there, like be like, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be with this full transmission. I'm going to drop into the energy that's presented here. I'm going to receive the gifting, right? And then I'm going to take it out into the world to walk it with me and amongst other humans. Relative to the collective tides. Now, this is something that I talk about in my membership group, the Integrative Evolutionary TIE. You can find the link in the description below. I talk about the collective tides often because part of being in that community and part of the membership is to be guided through collective tides that I can pick up on. I'm tapping into them all of the time. And then we're like, okay, how can we leverage this? How can we leverage this for our personal growth? Right? How can we find the corridor through all the chaos to like really see like what is the collective tide that is here that's presenting itself to us that wants to offer us an opportunity? How can we not only receive it, but also ingest it, like digest it, integrate it, and land inside of it and evolve completely into a place of embodiment in regards to it. So, relative to the collective tide that is happening at this time, it has so much to do with the masculine essence. Let me just say that every fall, and I teach about this extensively, I have a lot of memory about many different falls. And that gives me a unique and also very wise perspective in how to navigate these types of times. Every single fall we have experienced where it's like the fall of what I call the fall of firmament. That was Gaia's energetic body. It is her energetic body, but at this time it was fully operating in high harmonics. However, there was an energetic kind of collision that then created a fall from her firmament where you might think of this as like the fall of the angels, but there was the fall of so much more. It was also a fall of dragons. There were a lot of high harmonic beings that were tending to her energetic body at this time. What was missing is solidity, and solidity and containment come through the masculine essence. Okay, so what was missing? The masculine. When we have the fall of priestess temples, and now priestess temples are extremely important because priestesses are the ones that are working with the ether. They then weave it into being. They use the structure of the temple in order to create the highest aligned potentials that include the timelines that humanity ultimately walks into. There's so much power in that. And so there was destruction to those temples with intention to ensure that lower timelines instead would be birthed rather than the higher timelines for humanity. What was missing? Knights at temple doors. It was the protection of the masculine. When we look at the fall of Atlantis, which is a prime example of what I'm saying, pointing to, we're looking at a society that lacked the integration of the feminine, of unity, and therefore took things like genetic modification without care for life. When we bring in the true essence of the masculine, this is one of the codings that I regularly bring through. He is honed in on caring for all of life. So where he is not caring for all of life, that is the wounded masculine. It is not the true masculine. So in genetic modification, there wasn't a caring for life. There was an experimentation that created against the organic nature of creation itself, which is feminine. And so Atlantis fell. What was missing? The true masculine. The true masculine, and I walk men through this in my one-on-one pathways. I bring them through high level, ultimately, initiations to actually bring themselves back into the true masculine essence and also the core of their soul to know their true path and purpose. And none of that can actually happen for a man without the integration of the feminine. Just like you can't be within the true feminine coding if you have not integrated in the true masculine. It all goes hand in hand. This is Trinity dynamics. This is divine union within. So here again, there's the missing element of the masculine to include masculine protection. Over and over and over again, we go through these same patterns in dynamics. And some of us remember these falls and we're like, okay, you guys, like here we are again, same similar things are happening. Are we going to choose the same way that we did before, which we know leads to another fall? Or are we going to choose something different? And even in this immersive today, that is what I'm encouraging you to do by embodying different energies of opportunity inside of your body amongst the intentional overwhelm and chaos. The feminine has come online and risen in her power to such an extreme degree. And there are women that have done so much weaving. They hold the codes, they hold the templating, they have come into their voice, their power. They are embodying the true feminine essence. And when she is offered opportunities to step in through collective energies, like opportunities for her personally, she's been saying yes. I'm talking about this as a collective overall, not an individual person thing. This has created a collective gap between the masculine and feminine, the embodied true masculine and feminine, because resistance energy, and this is a whole other realm of teaching. I have a whole lot of them in TIE, my membership group. Resistance energy relative to the masculine operates differently than it does for the feminine. And so as the masculine has been presented opportunities, all of a sudden he feels so much of this pushback, this resistance energy. If he succumbs to what is less than true, which is in all inside of the resistance energy, he will not step into the evolutionary opportunity he's being presented. And as I have notated here, at each of these segments of these falls, that is what's happened. There's been opportunities that have been offered. There's been a persistence that goes against the organic, original coding of creation through the mother and including her. And so there's been control and ownership and manipulation and all of these things that lack the integrative element of the feminine. And so the resistance energy ultimately wins. Another fall happens. Right now, and I've been talking about this for years, I've been prophesizing these exact times. This is the era where the masculine is being called to step in. Is he going to choose? Is he going to protect? Is he going to evolve? Now remember that I said there's a particular relationship between the masculine, to include evolutionary processes, and resistance. So what we are experiencing collectively is a shit ton of resistance that is layering on and layering on and layering on and layering on with intention so that we miss the divine opportunities that are before us. Right here, right now, this is what we're really experiencing. The ways in which it feels like every single day, oh my gosh, this crisis, again, this kind of natural disaster, this kind of policy change, the ways in which like the most obvious injustices relative to humanity, even heading toward a judicial system, it ends up being that where justice should take place and there should be some kind of consequence, there isn't. And so our systems feel that, especially as highly sensitive humans. We're like, oh my God, I'm watching like being overwhelmed to extreme degree, watching and unable to actually help because there's so much of it that I can't help everyone, right? And we're watching like vulnerable populations just be brutalized before our very eyes. And we are feeling the impacts of that inside of our body. When we feel that somatically, our body goes into places of survival, which is, of course, a part of the agenda. If we can get them into survival, they will be too tired to thrive. Let's fatigue them. Let's layer it on. Let's overwhelm. Let's make sure that they miss the opportunity before them. So, to be very clear, this is an intentional agenda that we are experiencing right now. That is what is happening. And I'm not saying like completely step outside of it so we're not aware of things that are going on, right? That's not what I'm talking about today or what I'm moving us through. I'm actually showing you like, okay, we can acknowledge what's in the room with us, and we can also move in to, it's possible. Now, I want to say, okay, as a caveat, I've been traveling and I was feeling so much of this overwhelm. I mean, for months, I'm like, oh my gosh, the intensity in my body, it is so much. And I facilitated immersives. I talked to many high level humans and I also highly sensitive humans. And many have been like, I have been having this experience lately of like just feeling like, okay, it's time to go, ready to be off earth. And I want to speak that into this room just to validate it. That is the outcome of the overwhelm and then the fatigue, right? And a lot of people have been saying, this has not happened in so many years. And all of a sudden now it's happening. I want you to know that you are not alone in that at all. We are here with intent and purpose. We are the coding, the templating, the embodiments of what is truly possible. And so we are going to experience the resistance energy to an even greater degrees in the ways that we do because we hold the contrast of truth, right? Of evolution in ways that maximizes the contrast between the falsity and the resistance. So you're also going to feel that in your body to a much more extreme degree in the ways that only a seeing, knowing, highly sensitive, evolved, devoted, mission-oriented human would. Let's just breathe. Because if you've been just like, I'm just going through wells of grief, I'm from crying, I don't feel like I can create, I'm going into shutdown. Like, I want you to know that I understand. Like, I understand why. Now, I was feeling all of that overwhelm, and then through traveling, I've been going through this process, and I'm always here to like lead and guide, the leading edge of evolution. And so I'm called into these processes, sometimes a little bit ahead of, pretty much always ahead of the curve, with intention so that I can support all of you, for example. So in that, I hit this space of, oh, okay, it's all starting to make sense, and the levity is coming back, and some of the magic is coming back, and spaciousness is coming back. And so part of what I'm facilitating today is also coming from that space. I want you to know that like I have been there. I've in this fatigue and the overwhelm, and I've had experiences that have called me into another location. And that is the place by which I'm coming to you today. Hello, beautiful souls. Clearly, I'm in a different location, but I realized I didn't speak about some of the most important things that I wanted to say. So I'm popping this in to the newsletter video so that we have a really comprehensive understanding. When I'm talking about the resistance energy and how this relates to masculine evolutionary processes, initiations, and also how that connects to the current collective wave that we are navigating through, which is why we have such an increase of intensity at this time. I'm also pointing to how there is an agenda to fatigue us so that we don't land in our bodies, so that we don't land in our creations, or we don't land our creations into life, so that we do not actually choose this time versus so many times before with all the repetitive spiraling and cycling into falls. We don't step into a new paradigm, which is what the masculine is here to do, is ultimately to anchor a new paradigm. But he can't do that unless he descends down underneath the resistance energy into something that is deeper and truer. So when I'm facilitating the meditative guided process, part of what I'm doing is I'm inviting you into a space of internal clarity where the resistance energy kind of like drifts out of your field, bringing in spaciousness, which provides levity inside of density. Now, look at this from an integrative perspective. This is coding that I talk about. It's where levity meets density and density meets levity. We want to bring the levity here, like ether, clear, higher harmonics, down into the density. Okay, but we need levity inside of the density in order to magnetize that in. So as you're going through the meditative process and you're finding that space, hopefully, of some internal clarity, like more regulation, centeredness, spaciousness, opening, stillness, peacefulness, I also want to encourage you to allow that space to grow even beyond this newsletter and meditative experience in your life, to have that be like the anchor that lets you descend in and down and deep into your body. Do you feel capable of being deeply anchored in your body when you're dysregulated, when you're fatigued, when your spirit even feels tired? Probably not. So that's a part of the agenda, right? To like take us out of our body, but it's also to take us out of our hearts. And I'm here to lead and guide highly sensitive humans into and through the leading edge of evolution. And so this means that where there might be an agenda of something to counter what we're here for, I'm going to encourage you to do it anyways. So part of this is that the resistance energy, all of the this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing, is to fatigue highly sensitive humans so that you are not feeling like hearted and open. Instead, what happens is your body and your spirit go into shutdown. And we don't want shutdown because then we cannot create, we cannot do what it is that we're here to do. So a part of this is also to make sure that during this time of intensity, you are not going into shutdown relative to your sensitivity, because your sensitivity is not wrong and bad. In fact, your sensitivity and your heartedness is the very thing that this collective is needing in order to step in to a new paradigm for us to have things like true leadership, right? When I did a newsletter back in November and I was predicting these exact things that are happening at this time, I was talking about how we needed to remain connected to our hearts, how we were going to be moving through a time of increasing dehumanization. And for the highly sensitive soul, this impacts us, but I don't want it to shut you down. So part of the meditative process is also about coming into the place where you are properly held and you feel spaciousness, which is different than the closedness of shutdown. Okay, before we kind of move into like more of the immersive experience, some things to keep in mind. As I was going through this transformational space between like density, fatigue, oh my God, overwhelm, disconnection, all the many things. And then I started coming into the other space. I needed to be with what I was feeling, right? Like not avoid it, even not even shame myself inside of what I was feeling. Like it's just, I'm observing, notating it, and then being with in a way that doesn't amass it, but just like is like notated. And then there's the moments where I'm like, oh, I can start feeling a little bit more. Oh, I can start expanding a little bit more. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more levity. Oh, the frequency of beauty. And then it would be like, grief. Whoa. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because it may be that you move through this immersive that I'm facilitating and the ways I'm guiding us through it, and you start feeling the spaciousness and you start feeling the opening happen. When people just entered this space, though, I just had to pause for a moment. So let's just come back here. So what can happen is that when we begin to expand, sometimes we'll have this expectation like, okay, I'm expanding and I need to just like hold the space and now it's going to be like really wonderful and light and airy. And actually what can happen is that we expand and we get to like a certain point, and because we've been like, there's been so much overwhelm, there's been so much shoved into our space to include our energetic bodies, our emotional body, our mental body, right? That we begin to expand, and it's like, oh, there's space here, and even more of it ends up actually flowing, like almost like coming to surface because it has space to be let go of. I really want to make sure that I'm mentioning is that so that you're not setting an expectation as you're being guided in this process, like, I'm going to come out of this and I'm just going to feel like heaven on earth. It's like, okay, maybe you are like, oh, I'm feeling so much lighter. And this is actually, I'm like so grateful that it's creating this level of joy and bliss and just like, oh, this is so amazing, right? If that's the case, awesome. But also it may be that like you go through the expansion and then it's like, woo, there are things that want to pour out. I've been going through so many iterations of this as I've been traveling, and the pour out was helping to create more space. I would come back, again, okay, I'm neutralizing, I'm expanding. Okay, there's what's coming out again. And then so it's clearing, clearing, clearing. But each iteration, I've been having more space. So that's also my intention is like, okay, you're not just going to come here and listen today. If you're really going to be about it, put it into practice over the course of time, because you're going to have greater outcomes if you do it that way. Okay. Now with all of that, let's just go ahead and begin to slow. Arrive into the room that you're in. Breathe. Nice breath in. And then let your body like fall and relax. Breath in. Kind of sit a little bit more sturdy on your hips and let it out. Breathe in and bring your attention more into the center. And release breath out. Calling your energy into this space, we're going to let go of the rattling of the mind. We're going to let go of everything that has been happening, everything that is happening outside of this space, outside of this moment, outside of this body. Bring your energy, your consciousness, your awareness, right? Down your head. We're going to move out of the mind, down your face, like it's water just descending into your body, down your chest. And then like right in between your ribs, like the top of your ribs, I want you to see if you can find this stillness, this center point. And just breathe. We call in neutrality. We call in the spaciousness of the 0 point. Not by force, but by invitation. I welcome myself in to this center point. I know that this center point is here for me to find it over and over again, time and time again. Or I can just breathe and be with neutrality. No expectation, no shame or judgment. I just rest here, being, not doing, being. And I breathe. And as I breathe, I may notice that this point that at first seems really teeny tiny, like, oh, there's so much around it, right? But it's like, this still point that's here. That point starts to emanate outward. It starts to grow in every direction. And I want you to just breathe into it, right? As you breathe, you just notice it very slowly expanding. Starts like a little, like the tip of a pen. And now it's beginning to grow to the size of a pea. We keep breathing, and it turns into the size of a dime. Now imagine in your mind's eye that this is a space that holds infinite. There's an opening. Whoa. That space is actually so much bigger, so much more spacious than we originally thought. It's like a door opens and all of a sudden, whew, there's infinite in every direction. There's so much space to just be. Feel the air in this location. Almost like it's like there's air, but it's in total stillness. Feel it in your lungs where it's like fresh, clean, still mountain air that fills you from the inside out. So now we're in the opening, we're in the infinites. We have found the 0 point. If the mind is attempting to override, again, remember that this is not about push, pull, or tug. If you're judging yourself like, oh, I'm not there, I'm not quite there. My energy keeps feeling like it's being tugged over here and over here and over here. And I'm like, oh, I got to do the laundry. Oh, I got to cook dinner. Oh, the kids. Ah, oh, the stress of this thing, all this worry over here. You just sit and you rest in the center point. You invite in neutrality. There's no shame. There's no judgment on thoughts. We're just sitting and we're asking for our energetic body to locate this space for us, knowing that there's a place below all of the chaos that is there. We breathe again. Breathe out. And if you haven't already found it, I want you to again imagine, or if you've come out of it, this void space, this beautiful, it's like a black, like you can't, so black you can't see into it, but you know that it's full in the way that it's empty. This black hole, this pinhole that grows into the size of a pea, that grows into the size of a dime, that then is surrounding your very body, 5 feet in every direction. And you just let yourself descend into it. And when you do, suddenly there is a opening. There's space. There's breath. There's this pocket of peace, stillness. And in this space, there needs not be anything except for just you and your breath and whatever the experience happens to be. And though we're entirely content with that, and you can remain in just that, may we also invite, if you feel called, the truth, the current of the goddess, the coding of the higher temples, templates, and timelines that is wanting to be with us right now. We let that move straight down and through like the fluid pathway with no blockages inside of the resistance energy. It's outside of it, beside it. It just descends down and into our bodies. What is the opportunity? And we let that energy move into our head, down our face, past our neck, down our chest, and right in to that center point. We let it meet the stillness. We drop down a little bit further and we let ourselves immerse inside of it. We're not going to seek what that light brings. You're just remaining still. Notice sensations in your body if they're different than before you started listening. From this place we call in clarity to arrive in its own divine right time as we step out of this meditative process today and we walk it into our lives. We know that the still point is with us at all times and that there is space for peace inside of chaos. We become an anchor of what it is that we're here to create, what it is that we are here to radiate and emanate. We become sources of divine light, of truth that is here. We surrender in letting go and just listen, receive, and take note. Okay, just start to kind of blink open your eyes and wiggle your hands and your fingers, your toes. Maybe move your hips around a little bit. Breathe. Let's bring that kind of peace, that inner stillness, the neutrality into the room, into the shared space, into the place that you are physically located in this moment today. I want you to know that you don't walk alone, right? You walk with me, I walk with you. There are those of us that are committed to creating something different instead of repeating old patterns. And if you're listening to this, it's very likely that you're one of those people. And I want to know that you are loved and you are honored and you are appreciated. If you're feeling like you're in a space of isolation, as can happen for those who choose to step out of the collective conditioning and move into what is more true, and you are desiring a community to surround you, then I highly encourage you to apply for TIE. It is truly a new paradigm community. We walk through the collective tides ongoingly. We're present with the content. We don't bypass it. We find ways through to navigate. We share our evolutionary experiences with others who can relate and understand, who can see us and match us and meet us. I offer intuitive coaching inside of some of our monthly immersives. We have teaching experiences, a library of hundreds of audio transmissions. So if you are wanting a bit more of the medicine plus also the community piece, then I highly encourage you again to apply. I hope that this has been supportive to you. And as always, so much love to each and every one of you.